All right, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is the second half of the interview that I did with Eddie Francis for my Marvel Plus podcast, where we break down episodes of the Disney Plus Marvel series. If you want the full conversation, if you want all the other episodes that I've recorded with many, many different guests, go find Marvel Plus wherever you get your podcast. Just type in Marvel Plus and you'll find me. It'll say Brett Scott underneath. All right.
Dog, man, that's it.
That's cool. What's your TikTok so people can follow the dog?
My TikTok is your boy Eddie in the number 1. It's the only thing I got that's not your boy Eddie. Everything else is your boy Eddie.
All right. Go follow Eddie's dog adventures over on TikTok. All right, jumping into Moon Knight. Finally, what's your history with Moon Knight? Like, do you know anything about this character going in? Did you ever read him?
No, so Moon Knight to me was always like a periphery character. Like he would jump into stuff periodically, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, he's cool looking." Like I didn't know really nothing about him. He just kind of looked cool all the time. And I never read just a Moon Knight comic on his own. So when I was reading comics, I never really fully understood his powers. But as I gotten older and collected less, I YouTube a lot of characters. Like I have an understanding of characters. So I would YouTube Moon Knight and be like, "Oh, he looked cool." And I understood he had, I don't want to, because initially they said he had schizophrenia, and then they've changed that because schizophrenia he had like multiple personality disorder. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting kind of thing of a character. And I knew he was like really rated R. And I was like, yo. So I became kind of like this fan of Moon Knight without ever really reading Moon Knight. I just like the concept of Moon Knight, and people would talk about like these story arcs with him or whatever, and you'd see these crossovers with Deadpool, and you're like, yo. And initially he was supposed to be like Marvel's answer to Batman, but he's so much more than that now. Yeah. So when I knew that the TV, because I was like, yo, they got to do like a rated R Moon Knight movie, like that'd be dope. But when the TV show kind of got announced, and then they said it was going to be Oscar Isaac, I was like, oh yeah, sign me up. And even in saying that, and I don't know if we get too ahead, but I'll stop when I get here. In saying that, I still didn't expect what I saw in the first episode.
Yeah. I know what
you're saying. Are we going there yet? Or are we waiting? So I don't want to spoil your setup.
No, it's all right. Yeah. Are you just talking about the violence, the blood?
Yes. Because what I know of Moon Knight is how can he exist and not a rated R? It's kind of like Deadpool. Like, how do you make a rated? Honestly, the PG-13 Wolverine has never sat right with me. It's just like some characters. Yeah. It's like, yo, man, you got big knives on your hand. How are we making you PG-13? So, yet again, as we talked about earlier, reaching this new phase of Marvel, it's like even with some of the things that they touched on, and we talked about this in our last podcast with Falcon and Winter Soldier, you're like, oh, because when you're this multi-billion-dollar corporation that is Disney, you don't have to like you want to stay right down the middle. You want to be you want to please people, but you don't want to rub people the wrong way because you want that green. You want money. Yep. Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of got in some political stuff that you can see in 2021 or whenever it came out that could rub some people the wrong way.
Sure.
So when you get to Moon Knight, it's like, man, you can just kind of play this down the middle. You can sell some toys. You can make kids like Moon Knight. And from what I saw in the first episode, it's like, oh, it seems like you guys are going to do this the right way. And that's what made me excited from the first episode.
Yeah. What I find interesting is, and this is just kind of like you, I learned about the character going in. I was trying to actually stay away from too much information because I know they're going to do their own version of the character, and I kind of want to let them tell me a story. But just to get the basics down, I went and found out on YouTube and stuff. And like, I have a friend who actually loves Moon Knight, and I'm just like, all right, tell me who Moon Knight is. And I find it interesting that he didn't have multiple personalities. He just created like on purpose, almost like a spy would.
Yeah, the cab driver and
yeah. And then, but I feel like this what do they call it? Multiple personality or dissociative identity disorder. It's like it's so much more intriguing than
Yes.
some guy who just, is a spy or whatever, makes things up.
Yeah, because we've seen that. Like, we have our Batmans, and we have like these other characters that are so pop culture, like, even like, Mission Impossible, and
Yep.
but that added it, just how they filmed it, because we never saw him beat up anybody. Like,
Yeah.
the whole him like blacking out, and then we experienced it how Steven, that personality, how he experienced it, and everything we saw was from Steven's point of view. And it was like, yo, I kind of know what's going on, but I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know, man. Like, we've seen a lot of movies like this, like we've seen Fight Club. That's probably the first, movie that comes to mind when you think of like multiple personality disorder, whatever the case may be. But it was a different psycho thriller. Like, not fully understanding why he's here, what's going on, how he did the things he did. And then initially, Moon Knight wasn't supposed to have, like superpowers. He's supposed to be just like a somebody that can fight. And depending on what, storylines you read, I guess that can vary. But obviously in this, like, it seemed like he got some kind of powers.
Something like a suit just manifests on him. So there's something.
Yeah. So and it was a lot more, I don't know, thriller. It was the most like thriller-like Marvel thing I've seen. It borderlined on like a scary movie a little bit, where I'm like, and go ahead.
Like a psychological thriller, like you're watching like Shutter Island or something. Like, I have no idea what's going on, but it's like this dude is freaking out, and you don't know, stuff just keeps happening. He doesn't get it. We don't even get it yet.
Yep. And I think that was such a cool setup, and it also makes me excited because they said Doctor Strange is kind of going to be like a horror movie, and like, you don't get Sam Raimi unless you get him to do Spider-Man. That's kind of like what you get him for. You want him to do like scary movie type stuff.
Yeah.
So watching Moon Knight, I was like, yo, this is the most un-Marvel. Hey, I might have got swept up in the whole hyperbole of it all, but it felt like the most Marvel thing I think I've seen.
Yeah. So far, I mean, first impressions, it's like, it's different. It's different. And that's something I got to give them credit on the series, at least, where I feel like you talked about this earlier, how like they followed the formula. And then all of a sudden with this phase, they're kind of trying to they're like, let's try some new stuff. Let's see what else we can do. And like, these series are like the main point you're making there. Cause like each series is different from each other one. They're wildly different. You got WandaVision is wildly different from Loki, wildly different from Hawkeye, and Moon Knight is like, what is this, dude? This is way different.
And Moon Knight is our first character that didn't exist in the movies.
Yes.
So even that, it's like they have a whole new sandbox that they can play in, because even though they can deviate from the things we saw in the MCU, like, there's still rules in place for Wanda and Vision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and even Loki. But with this, it's like, you don't know nothing. He's not tied to nobody. And even in like those other other shows, you're kind of waiting for the other guy to show up. Like with the bait and switch that they pulled with Quicksilver, you're like, okay, this is going to be the thing. I don't really have an expectation. Like what we talked about the Kingpin thing. Like we were always waiting for those things that would happen. And in this, if they don't introduce any other character, if like Captain America doesn't show up, or Spider-Man doesn't, I won't care, because this can all be self-contained in whatever this weird thing that's happening over there in England or Germany or wherever Moon Knight ends up. And I think it has to be refreshing for whoever's directing that to be free of that. It's just like, I don't have to tie this into nothing, because you have to, at the end of the day, you still have to tie Falcon and Winter Soldier. You have to tie him to Captain America somehow. That's who his story is. You have to tie Wanda to this stuff, and then Hawkeye, he's an Avenger, so but you don't have to do that with Moon Knight. He's his own thing.
Yeah, that might be the best thing about it. Now that you're bringing it up, like, and not only you don't have to bring in other characters or anything or connect it during this series. Please don't. Just let it be. Yeah. I would love for this thing to end and not see a single other like cameo from a character we already know in MCU.
Yeah,
that would be great. All right, well, let's kind of go through it. Let's go through it a little bit. I'm not going to hit every single thing because we've hit some of it already, but the first thing you see is them introducing this Arthur Harrow character, the Ethan Hawke character, putting on the shoes full of glass. What'd you make of that? That's nuts.
I didn't know. I was like, you know, how you see something that it makes you cringe and you almost feel it. I just imagine what glass on my feet would feel like, and I was like, ugh. Like I remember looking at my foot at one point, like, no. So I hated it.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was interesting though, because no context whatsoever. It was just like, here's this guy. I don't know if he was drinking water, he's taking a shot of vodka. I don't know what he's doing. Then he crushes the glass, puts it in his shoe, and it just starts walking with him. But the next thing that they do is something that they don't do it in every Marvel film or series, but every once in a while they do it, and I love it. Anytime one of the series starts with the Marvel Studios logo, but instead of the Marvel Studios music, they use part of the soundtrack. Like they go straight into the episode with the soundtrack music. I love when they do that.
And it's always cool because if you ever paint it, the song always has something to do with the story that they're telling. Yeah. And throughout the series, it was always, even in the initial trailer, it was Day and Night by Kid Cudi. And it was like, you know, being sleep, the lonely stoner, da da da. So every song had to do with like being sleep and waking up. And then, so if you're paying attention to that, you're like, yo, even the was it Wham or what was it later? It was George Michael. It was George Michael, right? And it's
Wham.
Just like,
yeah,
it was Wham. Okay, yeah. Every song has something to do with him being asleep and waking up or something. So you're like, oh, I see what you're doing there. Somebody give the musical supervisor a raise.
Yeah, good job. So we find out he's kind of this quirky, very British dude. I don't know how else to describe him, but very British, if there's a way to say it. But he's kind of quirky, kind of weird. Seemed like he'd probably get on some people's nerves, you know, just a little bit of a loner weirdo. But he works at this museum, but he's really knowledgeable on Egypt, like ancient Egypt. But yeah, it turns out he's not like a tour guide or anything. He's just the guy that sells candy at the museum. His boss, Donna, is a bitch. I gotta say, Donna sucks. I don't like her at all.
No, I think she's supposed to suck. But yeah. He's your everyman. Just hates his, you know, he doesn't even really hate his job, but he's just kind of low on the totem pole of everything that's happening, especially at work.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you could just tell like everybody's kind of standoffish with him. Like it's like this guy, but forgettable, because even the security guard later like calls him Scotty.
Can't remember his name. Yeah, called him everything but Steven.
Yeah. But we saw at the beginning of the episode he's like doing these things, and this is how we get the introduction to him. We think maybe he's a sleepwalker or something. You don't really know, but he's latching himself to the bed with a combination, like he's putting tape on the door and sand on the floor and all this. And like, you know, if I was going in and had no idea about the character, I'd be lost watching the show. But
yeah, absolutely.
It does a good job, though. I think that by the end, even a person who's completely brand new to this would probably be like, he's got different personalities going on. That's what happened. But I loved the way they did like him waking up in different places. I don't know if you've ever seen Memento. You ever seen that?
I haven't. Nah, I haven't. But I know it's one of those classics I missed out on.
Well, it's a psychological thriller like this, and the whole thing is that like throughout the movie, he has no short-term memory or ability to make them. So every like 5 minutes, everything resets, and so he's in a new situation. He doesn't know how he got there, what he's doing. Like he'll be in the middle of running and be like, "Why am I running? Who am I running from? Oh shit, I'm not running from. I'm chasing him." Like and it's wild like that. He's lost every time he wakes up. So this did that so well to where, you know, he's laying down in bed, he's trying to stay awake, which I've never seen an app that keeps you awake. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, I was really trying to figure out if that was even real. I'm like, why would someone want to stay awake?
I know. I must feel like it has to exist though, right? It has to, something like that has to exist. But yeah, he's trying to stay awake, and then all of a sudden he didn't fall asleep or anything. It just boom, wakes up in a field with like his jaw jacked up and in a different somewhere. Like he's in different countries, in Germany, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like in more normal circumstances, there's always like a point of view character and all these things is where they kind of dump exposition. It's like kind of like Jubilee in X-Men. It's like, why are we doing this? Well, this is Professor Xavier. And it's like he's this. You're seeing everything literally through this one guy. Like there's no exposition to dump because he doesn't know. He's like, what is going on? Where am I at? He's trying to explain it to people. Like, so you think it's all good. Next thing you know, people are shooting at him, and he's having to figure this out while he's running from all these people.
Yeah. And I love that. So he gets that voice in his head, right? And at first I got like Venom vibes, okay? Even
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
haven't
Very
seen Venom,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen the commercials. Yeah.
right. It's obvious. Like this dude talks to him, kind of insults him all the time. But what I loved is he didn't give any exposition, but neither did this voice in his head. It didn't teach him anything.
Neither.
It just told him, like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, let the other guy take over. You're a jackass. Let
Mm.
the other guy take over. Like, and I don't know. I guess that voice is probably this Khonshu character, this Egyptian god character.
Yeah. Who in the
And
comics resurrected? I forgot what his other person, the mercenary, the main personality is this mercenary, and I forgot his name. He actually
Mark
died.
Spector. Mark Spector.
Mark Spector died, and that god brought him back to life to kind of like be his fist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that thing's talking to him. You're not sure that's what it is, but then you see it like appear behind him. He turns around and it's gone. And I don't know. It looks like a big like bird looking.
Yeah. Like skeleton bird type god thing.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy, especially later when it's like in the elevator and stuff. But when he meets Ethan Hawke's character, the Arthur character, and you see that this guy, he's like a spiritual guru guy. He's like a prophet or something in this village. And I thought it was weird with the scales tattoo that actually moves and stuff. I don't know. I thought it was pretty damn
with
cool.
The alligator head, because that's the god of what I don't know. I don't know my Greek gods like that, but apparently like, that's the god of like that they describe later on that will basically eliminate bad stuff before it even occurs. Like that's who that god is, and that's why he has that scale with that alligator head on his arm.
Yeah, and I think they say it's Amit or something is the name of the guy.
So I already know, man.
That's the person. So that's who this guy is like a prophet for or whatever. And yeah, he can judge people not just by their past, but can tell their future too, if they're a good or bad person.
Yeah.
I don't know if like it looked like, and later he even says like you killed that lady. I don't know if she died or if she just passed out or what happened, but that old lady that he judged.
I think he eliminates him. I think she kills him.
That's what I was wondering. Like, is she dead? Or
I think she's a rat, because that's kind of because he said that he would eliminate Hitler and he would kill all these people. I think she's done so.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I love that they're leaning dark in this, because if they keep going with how dark it's been so far, I love that, like you said, all the violence in this so far has been implied violence. You did not actually see any of it go down, but it's still like the most violent show we've had yet.
Yeah, and I enjoy villains and protagonists that are like the other side of the coin, because you definitely feel like they come from the same place, but like the inverse of each other. So I don't know, man. Like that's I'll be interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, my buddy of mine, he made the point on an episode a while back about how, and I don't know why I'm just dumb. I don't pick up on this stuff, but he's like, if you notice in every one of the Marvel films, in the first film, the introduction to the character, they always face the mirror image of themselves every time. Like,
yeah.
They always
Red Skull, Captain America, and then you got the Ironmonger versus Iron Man, and it's always Killmonger and Black Panther. Yeah, it's always the polar opposite. Ant-Man, and it's always always.
Yeah, they tend to bring that one out first, and so it'd be interesting to see, like, first, we don't even know what all they're going to power Moon Knight up with in this series. I have no idea. All we know so far is that he has different personalities and he can manifest a suit on his own. He doesn't have to put it on or anything. But I think my favorite part of the whole episode was that car chase. Like,
because he's like blacking out during the car chase, and next thing you know, you're like the windows are busted out, like a car's going. Then all of a sudden the logs start it was. I don't think I've ever seen it. I mean, obviously, because they're adding a new effect to it, the blacking out portion of it. But I don't think I've seen a car chase like that before. Yet again, it made your imagination kind of fill in the holes, which was kind of weird, because it's like it almost like it did it. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like your brain literally just filled in the holes, and it was like, oh, cool, that was awesome.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if, this whole episode we got Steven's perspective. I wonder if they do an episode that's just like the opposite. Like, this is what happened every time Mark Spector took over or Moon Knight took over.
I think that's what they can set it up for, because not even can you can do Mark, you can do Steven, you can do Moon Knight, you can do, what's that other character when he wears the suit? Mr. Knight or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the cab driver guy. Like you could literally every episode could be like a whole new personality.
Yeah.
So
Interesting to see him do that. Like that's what I was thinking. The whole time I was watching this, like, I wonder if we'll actually see what happened or if it'll stay like that, which is fine. If they want to leave it like implied and you just imagine how the fight went down, I'm okay
oh
with
no,
that.
they're gonna show us. They're 100% gonna show us.
I think so too. Like, because I feel like the scenes were all just filmed like together, and I'm sure that it was like, this is what actually. I'm sure they just filmed it like a whole scene in a day or whatever. But I think one of my favorite parts was the aftermath of him changing and then coming back in the van, and then that dude's body is just chilling in the back and just like ragdolls out and gets run over. I was like,
while the voice is screaming at him.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, so you literally have the level of confusion he has. You're like, what is this? Because they don't tell you what the voice. We still don't. We know because we kind of have an understanding of the comics, but we still don't really know what the voice is. So us as the viewer, we're just as confused as Steven is. Like, yo, what's his voice? How's this happening? What's it going? How's he gonna get out of here? And it just makes you feel tense the whole time.
Yeah, the whole episode was like that, like tension the entire time. You're like on edge. I loved how engaged it keeps you. Like there was no part where I was like, all right, next scene. Like the whole time I was engaged with what was going on. And that's something that not all the series have done for me. There's been times I'm like, all right, get back to this character or whatever. I want to see more of this, or more action or whatever. But every bit of this, like we were saying earlier, is like it's a psychological thriller. So like everything you're looking at, like, what is that? What's it? Every time there's a mirror like near him, it's like
a lot of reflections. Moving.
Yeah, and they definitely play with that a lot, and he's always, they give you little hints early on, like his reflection will move when he doesn't, or something like that. Yep. But I like that. I like that the implied stuff so far, like that they're not actually showing us everything, but you could tell it's like it's dark. It's dark as hell.
You know what I think for us too? There's a level of discovery that we haven't had in a long time for a Marvel character. I don't know a lot about Moon Knight, and even someone like Ant-Man and Scott Lang, like I kind of know. Even though Guardians of the Galaxy is a whole nother beast. Like I mean, there wasn't really it wasn't about you discovering them really. It was like more like you discovering each other and their family dynamic. But it wasn't. You didn't really need to know about Peter Quill. But as a comic nerd, I don't know a lot about Moon Knight, so it makes me curious where this can go, and it makes me want to know more about Scott, Mark, and whoever else. And now I want to be in this world. It's a sense of discovery I haven't felt in a really long time for something I actually care about. Like there's other characters that come out, and I'm like Morbius. I'm good.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Like that's why when I heard there was going to be a Moon Knight series, I had always heard of the character, but never read anything with Moon Knight. Had no idea anything about it. And I heard that when what it was like 2 years ago when they first announced all these upcoming series, and I was like, Moon Knight, they're going to make a series out of that guy. I've never even. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid getting like really deep into this character and just let him tell me a story, because it is the first time in a long time that I've been able to watch something and not recognize anything. Like it's all brand new.
I don't know, like the Easter eggs that they're dropping. I don't know who any of these other characters are. I don't know who the villains are. I don't know nothing. Like usually I'm like, yo, that's look at that. And I'm like, I don't know. But it doesn't dampen the sense of discovery for. It's kind of like when average people go see MCU movies. Yeah, there's a million things in there for us as far as Easter eggs, but they're not making all of them for us. They're making them for a lot of people. Right. Like this is their first understanding of what these comic book characters do. And I'm having that sense with Moon Knight. And it's, bro, like they got me. Like I'm here. I'm excited for everything else they got going with the show.
Yeah. I'm loving it definitely so far. What do you think of the fact that they didn't show us Moon Knight till that very last scene? Like it was the very last frame. There's Moon Knight.
I'm just glad that we got to see him, because usually that's their way of like it goes to black, and then we got to wait till next week. But just that little few seconds of seeing Moon Knight, there was a sense of payoff where you're like, okay, cool. I trust you guys now. Y'all didn't leave me hanging. So I'm excited, man. I want to see the work. Just give me all of them. I'm ready.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's like, what's great is there's no expectations, right? So it's like, tell me a story, but I don't even know what to want from it. I'm just like, I'm in for it, man. I'm just here like every week. I told like I've tried to get my son to watch it with me, and like I can sometimes get him to watch Marvel stuff, sometimes not. He's 11, and like he he's enjoying it, and he does. I was like, this is a perfect show for you because you don't need to know the whole history or anything. This is a brand new thing. I said, you know as much as I do. He's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I might even have him on the podcast to break down an episode with me, see what he thinks of it.
All right, man. Have him on, bro. I'm excited. I want more. Just give me more. Put it in my veins.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, Eddie, dude, I appreciate you coming on and talking some nerd shit with me for a while. I always love to have you back. When we do we do a roundtable at the end of the season, I'd love to have you back for that, where we get together and discuss like how it turned out as a group, all the people who were on for the individuals episodes.
No doubt, man. Let me know. Hopefully schedule permits, and I'll be here with you, my dude.
All right, man. Thank you so much, dude.
No problem, man. Take care.
Later.